Body case, and he said he did not tell the Taoiseach that it was totally improper to intervene. Instead, he said he wrote that he hoped the constituent would understand that it was improper to intervene. He said the whole thing was done to damage the Taoiseach's reputation, to represent him as having admonished the Taoiseach, and to attract criticism. He said there was no reference in the correspondence to a court case as claimed in the newspaper.
There's nothing inappropriate here and nobody has done anything wrong. The story isn't accurate. What happened is a constituent sent a letter to the Taoiseach's office, and that letter was forwarded to the Department of Justice for a reply. It's not the case that the Taoiseach requested the Minister of Justice to intervene in a legal matter or a family law case. That just isn't true.
This evening, Fianna Fáil's Justice spokesperson Niall Collins dismissed the Minister's statement as typical bluster and reiterated his call for the Taoiseach to explain his involvement in the letters. Anne-Marie Smith, RTE News.
And in the past few minutes, the Sunday Independent has issued a statement rejecting what they describe as the content and tone of Minister Shatter's statement. It's thought that up to 12 states along the American East Coast could be affected by Hurricane Sandy, which is expected to make landfall late tomorrow or early Tuesday. In New York, 375,000 people living in low-lying areas have been told to leave their homes. Public transport services are to be suspended from tonight, and hundreds of flights have been cancelled. A state of emergency has been declared in Maryland, New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Washington D.C. and parts of North Carolina.
Along America's east coast, preparations are underway for Hurricane Sandy, which is expected to make landfall over the next 2 days. Residents are boarding up their homes and stocking up on essential supplies for what officials say could be the biggest storm ever to hit the United States.
We have batteries, we have flashlights, oil lamps, tarps, just getting ready for this, whatever is coming.
Workers in New York flock off subway grates to prevent flooding of the underground system in advance of tonight's temporary suspension of all public transport services in the city. Schools will remain closed tomorrow, and a mandatory evacuation order has been issued for those living in low-lying areas.
We are ordering this evacuation for the safety of the approximately 375,000 people who live in these areas. If you live in these areas, you should leave them this afternoon.
There are fears that the hurricane could intensify as it merges with an Arctic storm coming in from the west. Pictures from the International Space Station show its huge size. At 1,300 kilometres wide, it's thought it could affect up to 12 states. Already the approaching storm has forced the presidential candidates to cancel a number of events in crucial swing states.
We're not going to be able to be in Virginia tomorrow. We're going to go to Ohio instead.
Earlier in the Pacific, Hawaii was spared the worst effects of a tsunami, which had been triggered by a 7.7 magnitude earthquake off the Canadian coast. 100,000 residents had been ordered to move to higher ground, but the surge was weaker than expected and has caused little damage. Michelle McCochran, RTE News.
And due to the bad weather expected in New York, Aer Lingus has cancelled all its flights to and from New York tomorrow. Passengers affected should visit airlingus.com. Gardaí are appealing for information in the cases of 2 people who have gone missing in the past week. Aoife Phelan from Portlaoise was last seen on Collier's Lane after leaving a friend's house on Thursday evening. The 30-year-old, who was 4 months pregnant, is described as being 5 foot 7 inches in height, of slim build, with long blonde hair. Meanwhile, searches are continuing for a County Kildare man who's been missing for almost a week. 18-year-old Cormac Clare has not been seen at his home in Kilteal since last Monday. Anyone with information is asked to contact Gardaí. The former pop star